Welcome to the Romanian River channel and my first impressions of Starward Rogue, a game by Arcen games released about 3 weeks ago if I'm not mistaken, which classes in the genre of roguelike games, i.e. permadeath, dungeon crawling, nasties and stuff like that, so not exactly a game you want to be too serious about in terms of characters and progression. That adds a bigger pain in the ass in a sense, but a bigger challenge as well, with bullet hell mechanics, i.e. the enemies don't come up to you and smack you in the face like for example in Dwarf Fortress's adventure mode. They just shoot a lot. And you may think, it's easy to dodge. No, it isn't. Certain enemies are incredibly painful. And the game makes a point of evolving its difficulty curve in relation to your capabilities as a gamer. Yes, besides actual difficulties like for example easy, medium, hard, so on and so forth, though they're named differently in this game, each difficulty level alters itself and becomes more challenging based on the completion of the sets of playthroughs you've completed in one file. You have about 6 files, so you can do quite a bit in terms of experiencing the game or sharing the game with others so they can how should I put this, convert over to the Xenobite ideology as well. But before we get too much into it, let's talk about options, which are not too important in a game I'm not gonna say primitive, but highly optimized and not too demanding in terms of graphics, because to be honest my R9 290 pushes this baby up to 250 FPS about constant in high stress situations, i.e. when my hand is cramped up harder than the cooler on the GPU. Now, standard view and edit control options, move, aim, keyboard, utilities. I don't really think I've seen much function for the chat, but maybe it's something we'll see exploited later on as the game expands, because they've already been modifying it quite a bit in the 3 weeks since it launched. Now, besides the standard keyboard and mouse, you can also get a gamepad and work that way. Besides these, you also have your options to clamp viewport to room area. Slow walk is toggled instead of held down, so on and so forth. So basically, instead of pressing the sprint button, which is shift in this game, you just toggle it with a simple press, not hold it down. The graphics are quite unimportant, to be honest. I mean, I think this game could probably run on a graphics card from 2008-2009 without any stress, to be honest. I could toggle video sync. Oh god. Video VSync and not suffer frame rates underneath 120 or something like that FPS, assuming it is a direct slice in half. But the game hasn't, at this 720p recording size, it's not been required. I've not seen any screen tearing, and I've also played in about an hour in 1080p and I've not noticed any screen tearing or stuff like that. And again, R9 290 and my desktop's screen is not exactly a premium model either. Now the performance, here you can select graphics quality, so you can't really alter graphics options per se, but as you will see when we get into the game itself is not graphically intensive, but it is beautiful and the aesthetics quite jive for a roguelike game. But if you're still having issues, you can disable various effects like shadows, reflections, glass, force field effect, and floating background debris, which should help you. We're gonna have the FPS toggled on to show you guys in the corner about here, when I get into the dungeon crawling bit, how the FPS handles. Hopefully I don't have to do too many runs in this video to show you guys, because God knows I've just finished the first run from 0 to clear Warden, and it might actually decide, oh, this guy knows how to play, let's rank up the difficulty a bit. Okay, volume, audio is basically volume settings and the option to disable music, sound and voice. These usually, sometimes you don't see in other games. By what I've seen, it has disable music and possibly disable voices, but never disable sound completely, at least as far as I can remember. They usually have a master volume slider which accomplishes the same function in the end. And the extras are basically if you need to run debug to check for your stability or what's causing issues. The intro itself is actually I've never checked out the intro, to be honest. I've always alt-tabbed. We'll see it together then. And the limit minimap display is basically an option for somewhat more realism, but on your first runs, until at least you get used to the controls and how to quickly respond to a bullet coming towards your face, you're better off leaving it unlimited. Now we'll save and head into file 1. Yeah, basically you have the option to start a new run, continue an old one if it is possible, which is always a nice option for a roguelike. Tutorials, which is quite important if you are new to roguelikes in itself, or you're having issues adapting to this particular one. And statistics, i.e. what I've been able to do and what I've not been able to do. The mirror, these are bosses basically, and mini bosses are annoying, but usually you can beat them. Usually. Some you don't see, to be honest. I wonder what this one, locked one is, and these. They must be from higher difficulties. Anyway, and the stats, these are what affect your the ramping of the difficulty. For example, if you complete 3 runs, i.e. up to killing the Warden, it goes from 5 floor runs, i.e. 5 different levels you have to clear, to 7. And it might be my impression, but the first couple of runs I made, I've actually done quite well. Subsequently, after those, a couple of runs were insanely difficult. I mean, yeah, statistically it's not relevant, but I get the impression the game likes to ramp up difficulty, because, for example, on my first run I actually made it all the way to level 4, i.e. floor 4, and died to my own stupidity, basically. After that, I made it up to floor 3, and then I couldn't, for a couple of runs, make it past level 4, which is quite weird, but oh well. Let us get into the fun. Now, before you start, you select your hull, which depends on what your playstyle is. White gloss is basically a very boilerplate, nothing special, nothing too difficult. The weapon itself is basically a single shot, simple shoot, direct line, no wall piercing, no nothing. And besides the bazooka, which is you can clear certain walls with it, I'll show you in game. You also have an alternate weapon you can activate with right click, which consumes energy, which in this case is the rain cannon, which is a scatter cannon. The flame tank, which is my personal favorite, and the tank will be the hull. I keep saying tank, but technically speaking they're mechs. Walking tanks. Nice compromise. Is basically a tank with more shields than the Gross, less health. The Guardian Blaster is basically a single shot direct blaster for your secondaries. And what I like about this one is the primary is a flamethrower. The name kind of gave it off, but yeah, a flamethrower is an area of effect, short range weapon. And it's very, very good, at least for me. My Imperium of Man tendencies are showing in there. Now, besides these two, we also have the Indigo Dipole, which I've not really played much because I got my shit kicked in on the second level. So basically it has a magnetic missile launcher, i.e. you shoot a missile and then your attacks go towards that point of impact, I assume. And a repulsive hornet mine. The repulsive hornet mine not only prevents enemies from getting close, but also if it functions exactly as I remember, it basically bends projectiles away from it, so it's quite an interesting and useful thing to have. But it's not this. It doesn't discern between your shots and the enemies. All will be deflected. So you could have a option to resist for a while via that, but you'll also not be able to shoot. The Green Envy has better credit earning potential and a slight chance of gaining a keycard, which you use either to unlock locked doors, which are to shops or certain areas, usually shops. I've not seen different rooms locked away. And the chests. Some chests, which are usually the more valuable ones, are locked. Really kind of self-evident. The problem is this thing needs a lot more experience to level up, and speaking as a one completed run expert, the flame tank at least needs all the levels they can get. I was level 11 by the time I got up to the Warden. Now, besides those four, we also have the Deep Blue, which is a very interesting little tank, but it's fragile as all hell. With this one, I actually died at the first room. Well, how many times did I try it? 3 or 4 times. Twice I made it to the second room, and the other couple of times I died on the first room. I made it the second floor, and the latter 2 times I didn't even get out of the room. Okay, and besides that we also have the Redshift, which has a interesting capability. When it doesn't move, nothing else moves. So it has a very good capability, but as you can clearly see, the health is non-existent and the shields are even less so. So this is a tank, walking tank, that you use only if you are particularly, I don't know who would like to play this, but to be honest, I get the impression people who like chess might like to actually play this, because it would be moving around very carefully, dodging shots, basically neoing your way around. It's a bit too cerebral for my mind though. Now we've selected the flame tank, and difficulty is very easy, normal, hard, and misery. Misery is not yet in the game, but by the name I probably would never even try this, because, well, as anybody who's seen my Path of Exile Let's Play, I die a lot, and this being permadeath, yeah, hard, I might actually try when I get 100% completion, or as close as I can with normal. Now, let's get going. No intro. Weird. But okay, let's get started. While you guys enjoy the sweet, sweet music that I've been enjoying for about 6 hours. Green doors mean it's either a depository or a shop. Depositories being places where free items are held. This being a depository. Spine ballista. Nearly went Romanian there. Charge to unleash a barrage of spines. Nice. This being not too good, yeah. Let's see. This was, if I'm not mistaken. Interesting. As you can clearly tell, the purgation element is quite clear in the game. And yes, I tend to repeat myself when I'm stressed off trying to dodge bullets. Yes, I never really liked Max Payne either. This is a chest. The unlocked kind. They usually don't contain much, but better to check. This is one of the shops which you need to unlock with a key. Some shops are naturally unlocked, some are not. Depends purely on luck. Iron Jesus, basically stuff like that. So this location, as you can clearly tell by the minimap up here, nothing. Also, keep in mind the FPS. Besides those, we also have up here the health shards we've collected. Health shards are basically small little red drops that you pick up from some canisters or in certain locations. It depends. I'll show you guys how they look. Next to that we have keys and credits. The health shards, by the way, when you get 8, it pops 1 extra HP in, the maximum. This being for level 1, floor 1. Now this is our primary weapon, which is triggered with the first mouse button. Energy based weapon, i.e. the secondary, with your right mouse button. Missiles are with the space key and are limited by ammunition. They're quite important when clearing obstacles. Yep, I knew it. The difficulty ramped up quite significantly from the last one. Some of these enemies I used to see on levels 3 and 4. Holy hell! That's one of the health shards. Okay, whenever you enter a combat room, you have to clear out the enemies or you're locked inside. This can sometimes screw you over royally if, for example, an enemy is behind the indestructible wall and they can shoot through it, and you don't have any missiles to clear the walls with. I've had that happen once out of about 20 attempts, so nothing too much. This is the health recharger. Nothing too difficult, as can clearly be seen, but this is level 1 berry, and I'm quite used to it. With missiles you always have to be careful to husband them because you never know when you need them. That's them done. Nothing inside, okay. You sprint via the shift key. I have it to have to hold down because I'm used to that from in general shooters. The glass looking stuff is, as you can tell, the equivalent in this game of, what can I say, Legacy of Zelda, not Legacy of Zelda, derp, Zelda game pots. It's quite important to pick up shards whenever you can because you need health quite drastically. Oh shit, this is gonna be nasty. Besides the health, you also have a shield, depending on the... Whoa. Fuck. Be careful of chunks of masonry. Which, depending on mech, can be higher or smaller. The options to upgrade it are extremely limited. Usually you're stuck with however much you start off with. There are certain items that can upgrade it, but yeah, this is the level boss, and it's quite an easy one, at least for this in terms of this level of preparedness. If it were, for example, a wall or other type of boss, yeah, that would have been extraordinarily nasty to deal with. But she's pretty predictable. Oh shit. In my big mouth. Don't get cocky, don't get cocky. May have cleared her multiple times, but they're also talking right now, trying to teach people how to do shit. I managed. Damage is absorbed by energy. Nice. You also level up. Press E and select options. To be honest, I usually go with extra damage for the first level on the flame tank. Credits are pretty much self-explanatory. That door is towards the next level. Well, next floor to be honest, but yeah, details. The English is not as good as it should be at this hour, but oh well. Now, if you limited the minimap to just the room, it would have been harder to navigate and know where the hell you are going. Even lesser versions, these guys are freaking annoying. Okay, this skull right here indicates a room with a mini-boss. Let's see if you can clear it without dying. Oh hell, it's one of the nasty ones. This one is basically do not step on the white area as it's a trapping mechanism. You can't move and this guy loves to face hug. Fortunately, I've actually learned how to deal with that bastard. This is a room where basically you have to navigate this maze while also dodging that. Considering it's just coins, I'm not really too sanguine about trying it. Not worth the hassle really. These are spike pits. You take 1 damage, be it shield or health, depending on what which is if you still have shields or not. And these are basically direction blocking. You can go this way and this way, pardon, but not this way. It blocks you completely. Not really important. That's new. I've never seen a shopkeeper before. Wow, they upgraded double damage and full health, half damage otherwise. Live strong or die weak. Minimalist. Less will stand before you, but how will you get stronger? I'm gonna go with confidence. Why? Because YOLO. Okay. Extra crit chance. The flamethrower does not have any native crit ability, but considering how much it shoots, if you can get the crit chance up, which I suggest you do because it's always lovely to have, you boost your damage up quite significantly. Now this console allows you to convert credits into experience. The amount goes up with your level. The amount of credits do not, so basically 5 credits for X amount of experience. Quite useful to get levels later on, and you may not always be able to. This level was relatively easy. Not much difficulty. Picked up 4 shots, which is always nice. This is why I check, just to be sure you don't miss something epic. Should we bother? Do we have enough keys? We have 2 keys now, we're gonna keep them for the next level. Usually shops at this, at the first level or 2 are not usually much worth opening. Yeah, I could get lucky with another shopkeeper or stuff like that and get epic amounts of loot, but nah. I'm pretty well kitted out for level 2. Keep saying level instead of floor. For the duration of this first impressions, floor equal level, level equals floor. Let's hope I remember that myself. As you can see, floor level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. At 3 completed runs, i.e. killed this rather annoying bastard at the end 3 times, you get 2 extra levels. Yay, completionists. Let us continue. The familiars are basically robots, floating auxiliary weapon systems basically. YOLO. Oh, another easy one. This guy's quite easy to deal with because, well, his shots go in very predictable fashions. Before we go any further, I believe, yeah, this is a storage area. Corrosive module. Main guns have a chance to poison enemies. Gain an over shots on your main gun. Let's see. Nice. How many missiles do we have? 3. Okay, we have to start husbanding them. See how they tempt me? This would take 2 at least. Oh, you bloody bastards. Okay, that guy's easy. That's one of the more annoying enemies because it has a frontal shield that's quite difficult to punch through. Exploration is your friend. Never leave a floor if you can without checking. 1, 2. give me something good. Do not heal your hull anyway in order to keep buff. You do not have enough missiles to clear that, but we'll manage later on. Oh shit. One of my least favorite enemies, the guy that can hook shit. And we lost quite a lot of health. We're gonna have to be careful. Though if I'm not mistaken, we left quite a bit back. That would be bad to go to. Our shields are already down, so that would be nice. That's one of the few items that upgrades your shields. We're out of missiles, which is never a good state to be in. Don't have particularly good enormous amounts of health either. Okay, let's try it here. Alright. Did not see the laser. Well, that is pretty much Starward Rogue in a nutshell. If you do not look where you're going, you get killed. Would like to do more, but this would be a good demonstration of how difficult this game can get. At 0% completion, it's quite forgiving, to be honest. My advice to new players: start off at easy for a while, get used to whichever tank you prefer or like the sound of, and then start graduating up to normal or even hard, depending on how cocky you want to be. Otherwise, yeah, as far as games go, and particularly roguelikes, nice graphics, nice difficulty system, to be honest. The bullet hell mechanics are quite challenging, especially if you're a blind bastard like I am, walking straight into a laser beam. The items themselves I forgot to mention, to be honest. The items can be quite interesting. They're very randomized. If I'm not mistaken, the difficulty affects how rare the items you can get more often are. And I also believe the higher the completion also increases slightly the drop rates on more rare items. For example, that was the first time I bumped into the ballista at that level. The first time I bumped into it was at level 3 at playthrough number 3, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, a decent roguelike, which is what, 12 euros, or the original equivalent, if I'm not mistaken, in your area. And if it's your sort of game and you really do not love your hands at all, it's quite a good game. If not, if you love your hands, or if you're not into roguelikes in general, yeah, not much can be said. This won't convert you over unless you get interested by watching somebody play it and be like, hey, I can do better than that guy. You get your ass drop kicked out of the dungeon at the first room, like I did quite a few times. So yeah, this game is recommended for fans of the genre and overall people of Xenobite persuasion. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and until next time, bafta.